All right, are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are ready for this because this is going to blow your mind.
That dude in the hairpiece the whole time, that was Bruce Willis.
That's a little tired there, man.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm done.
Drop the mic.
Leave it on a high.
God damn, that's some sweet wine. Whew.
Welcome to the season 4 premiere of Copia podcast. It's so good to be back with everybody. It's been a long journey to get back to season 4. Welcome.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, this is our Halloween special, so you'll notice a couple of us are in costumes here. Nate is actually missing. He's MIA for the day. Had some other things to take care of, but
We'll send a search party later.
we'll figure it out. But I do want to officially welcome Casey to the cast of Culture Copia. Casey has done every episode of our little bonus side project, Play for Blood, with me. But now he's coming on to Culture Copia, and we couldn't be happier. And he's also in costume for our Halloween. What is your costume?
I am Jose Jalapeno on a stick.
And you get the stick right here. That's why you have the fucking mustache.
That's why I have the creeper stash.
I don't know if I'm gonna set this wine down. I don't know if it's because I did recently watch the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. Maybe that's what inspired it. But I decided to go with a wrestling theme here, and even though he wasn't part of the Mr. McMahon documentary, I decided this is kind of my tribute to the 3 characters of the legendary Mick Foley. So I kind of have the Cactus Jack garb going on down here, rocking the Dude Love look up top, and then the thing that ties it all together is I got the of course, Mr. Sacco. Have a nice day. Mankind, probably my favorite of the 3. And Amy did this, dude. It looks so good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I showed her one picture, and she made it happen. So Mr. Sacco's gonna be here with us. But let's talk about Halloween, man.
I'm excited to get talking about this particular topic. It's one of my favorite holidays.
Yeah.
So, how does... I guess Matt. How do you want to start? I mean, I kind of interrupted you, but how do you?
No, you're fine.
How do you want to start? It's pop culture related. So, do we go all the way back to the Bride of Frankenstein?
Right.
Well,
okay. So let me start by asking this, and we've done this before. You and myself and Greg, when Greg first came on, we did a Halloween episode where we talked about this stuff. But it's great to kind of go back over it again, especially now that we have video. And Greg is not in costume, but Greg, what's one of your favorite Halloween traditions?
I think I said this before, but it's the candy.
The candy. Which, by the way, we do have a cauldron full of candy sitting right between Casey and Greg.
Honestly, it's chili season.
Chili.
So having a big pot of chili going.
Fuck yeah.
On Halloween.
Hell yeah.
Bonfires at night.
Bonfires. Yeah, right.
Absolutely. What about you?
I have to. We always used to sit down, and me and my grandpa and my grandma used to sit down, and we'd watch the original Dracula, Wolfman, and Frankenstein, the old black and whites, every year.
I'm glad you brought that up, and that's kind of why I wanted to get into this question first, because of what Rob was saying. Because I think one of the things that I do every year is we watch a bunch of horror movies. But me personally, I always have to kind of go back and watch those old classic Universal monster.
Well, I watch them more than ever since the wife won't watch any other horror movie because she's scared of Jason and.
So she won't watch any more modern.
Her cousin ruined her with all Halloween, scary Halloween movies.
Oh, really?
Like thrillers, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
we
she
don't
watch scary movies. I watch them alone.
Nothing more modern. But she'll watch like the monster movies, the old monster flicks.
I somehow managed to get her to watch the Dawn of the Dead, the original from the.
Okay.
I think that was the 70s.
Yeah,
70s
was
or
it
80s.
George A. Romero?
Yeah. She said it was so corny that she could watch it, and she liked it.
She could probably watch The Birds. Then that's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that
apparently scared the shit out of people.
Scared the shit out of a lot of people.
That scared a lot of people at the time. You go back and watch it now; it's kind of corny, but
right.
Yeah, those old like Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula. Rob mentioned Bride of Frankenstein. Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mummy. Not the Brendan Fraser action flick, but like the old. The Mummy.
Actually, I think it was just called. Wasn't it just called Mummy?
Mummy? I don't know. Invisible Man, I think was another one of those back in the day. One that I could never get around. This was a little later, but The Blob just didn't. That was one of those like sci-fi.
I've never seen that
movies.
Is that an old one?
Yeah.
You ever heard of Rubber?
Like
the movie Rubber?
Like the substance Rubber?
Substance?
Oh, isn't that with the killer tire?
The whole movie is just this tire rolling around.
It's a tire rolling around killing people.
Oh, is that a Stephen King one?
That I have no idea.
It's like the Idle Hands.
I think it's from the 70s.
It's like the Idle Hands version of Christine. Remember the movie Idle Hands?
Right.
With Devon Sawa?
No.
Yeah.
And Seth Green?
Seth Green, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
His hand would kill people. It wasn't him. He had like a possessed hand.
Right.
So if you think of it that way, Rubber is kind of like that equivalent of
I don't
Christine, where it's like it's just instead of a whole car, it's one tire.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I'm thinking like Maximum Overdrive, where the freaking
where all the machines,
18-wheelers,
the machines come to life,
just come to life and start killing people.
With the Green Goblin,
with the Green Goblin
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an amazing fucking movie. No. This is literally just one tire rolling around. It's like a kind of a low budget. Like
It has to be low budget if it's just a tire rolling.
It's just, I mean, dude, it's like shots of like they just like probably rolled the fucking tire.
Right, just push a tire across.
So okay, the movie Killer Tomatoes.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That was one of those again that kind of falls in line with like the Blob, where it was one of those like 50s like.
I had that video
sci-fi
game
horror.
for Nintendo.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I think we talked.
That was
about
like one of
on
my
our video
favorite.
games.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like? So I'm guessing that also falls in like Killer Clown.
I love Killer Clowns. Well, okay, Killer Clowns is different in the fact that it was meant to be a comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, it was one of those like one of the early like horror spoof movies, essentially. Yeah.
The funniest thing like about that is he's wearing an ICP shirt.
Yeah.
In one of their songs, in the beginning, it has that scene where the cop is like "Killer Clowns."
Yeah.
Holy shit! And then
Yeah.
ICP starts fucking. I heard that, I was like, I wonder what that's from. And then it said it was from Killer Clowns, and then I watched it.
Yeah. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I had that.
Now is that one? Will Jessica watch that?
Yeah, she probably would.
It's not a horror. It's a comedy.
Yeah, it's not a jump scare.
She
doesn't like jump scares.
It's mainly, when you really think about it, it's mostly based off of Alien.
She won't watch any any of like the exorcisms or.
Man, those are just okay to me though.
Basically anything that's like.
Insidious.
Yeah, like
dude,
jump scares. All jump scares.
Yeah. Will she pee her pants?
No, honestly, I don't know because we've never watched one together.
We saw the It
so
reboot when it first came out, and I mean, dude, that was more
good.
of a comedy than anything. Dude, they put so much, like, there's so much comedy in that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Matt, and you guys might not know this because I'm a little bit older than you guys. Do you guys remember a movie back in the day, late 80s, early 90s, and it was kids, and it was about all the classic
Monster Squad.
Thank you. That is what it's called. Yes. Okay, I was looking for that.
Monster Squad.
Monster Squad. And it's got all the traditional monsters in it.
Yeah.
It's got
So-
Monster, Dracula, Frankenstein,
Stein,
Werewolf, Monster in the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, yeah.
They even throw in the Vampire Brides.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I got in trouble because we were at like a restaurant and I just got done watching that movie and I was like, "Mom, what's a virgin?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in it,
Yeah.
they had to have a virgin to like say the spell.
Yeah, so there was a stone that basically would open a black hole to basically suck away all like the monsters and stuff. And like in the very beginning, you're in like Transylvania, like back in like the 15 or 1600s, and they storm the castle trying to get they're getting the stone, and they have this virgin say this sentence in German, and then and then they take the stone and they throw it, and it opens a black hole, and it's basically to get rid of the monsters. Well, throughout the movie, you have to have a virgin to say this phrase, and then it opens the black hole in this diamond.
So they tried it once with one girl who was a teenager. Yeah. Right? She was probably like, I don't know, what did you think? Like,
she was probably like
older in high school, junior, senior in
15,
high school.
16, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like singing, it's not working, and I guess it's like the guy's brother, one of the characters' brothers.
Yeah.
She was a brother to him or sister to him.
No, it was her brother. It was like this one guy gets a hot for this girl, and he's like, oh yeah, you talking about so and so? And she's like, yeah, that's my sister. He's like, really?
Yeah. So anyway, she's trying to like say it, and it's not working.
It's not working.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You're not a virgin, are you?" And she's like, "No." So then they had
the funny part is before that is they said, he's like, "You're not a virgin," and she's like, she goes, "Not technically." What do you mean technically?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't count the first time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I watched that movie.
Oh man, it's been a long time.
But you know, that was kind of a running thing with Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about that because like that's like a virgin had to break the spell and stuff. And it's funny because like they're kind of like, because it's the guy, they turn that trope on its head where like you always picture like the virgin thing and the virgin sacrifice stuff as a female, whatever. And so like they kind of flip that. But what's funny is like, dude, throughout the whole movie, there's like, people aren't like overtly like, but it's like, there's like these little nods of like, they talk to like the cop who's a grown ass man and say something about like, you know, oh, well, you know, he's a virgin, so he has to read the thing. And then the cop's like, are you a virgin? Like, you know, it's like,
right.
You're a fucking grown man. Why are you fucking picking on this kid? He's like 15. And then even at like the very end.
But that was just a guy in costume though too. They thought he was a real cop.
Oh yeah, I forgot that wasn't a cop.
He was just a dude in
yeah.
costume, but he's like,
that's true.
And then she walks away, and the biker chick walks out, and she goes, "What's so funny?" He goes, "Kids."
Yeah, I forgot about that. But then even at the end, which spoiler, but if you haven't watched fucking Hocus Pocus, this came out like what, 93 or something. But like when they save what's his name, like the black cat. You know, and like he gets to like pass over because his soul was trapped or whatever.
Thackeray Binks.
Thackeray, yeah.
Thackeray, that's right.
And when he's like reunited with like his sister, and she's like, "What took you so long?" And he's like, "I had to wait 300 years for a virgin to save me." I'm like, "Damn, dude, they should
wait 300 years for a virgin to light the candle."
Yeah, it's like, damn, dude, they just had to get one last little jab in there, like this fucking virgin, like had to fucking light the candle.
All right, so I got a question for you guys. Well, maybe more of a statement, and see if you guys agree with me. But
okay,
1980s was the best time for horror pictures ever.
Oh gosh,
I would say
you've got things like Jason, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Critters.
You had a lot of them coming out then.
Okay, Halloween.
Was that late? That was late 70s, wasn't it?
The first one,
Jason
I think, might
mom?
be 81.
Was it really? Oh,
I might be wrong.
You got Predator in there.
Yeah.
You've
got Alien.
So
Alien. That came in
Alien?
80.
The first one was
77.
The first one was
Alien was
late
77.
Yeah.
So it wasn't 70s. So I would feel
I see, and that's what I want to say, because like you have things like Alien, you have things like Halloween is my favorite horror movie, especially the first one, and that was like I think 78.
Oh, so it was 70s.
Yeah, so you had like, but to Rob's point, I mean, you wouldn't have all those like great sequels and things like that throughout the 80s if it weren't for that. But overall, as a whole, when you kind of lump everything together, I might agree with you, Rob, and say 80s.
Okay, because I'm going through it right now. Top horror movies for Lost Boys.
Heck
Okay.
yeah. That was 90s, wasn't it?
No, 80s. He's just going through 80s.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
87.
Where's the communication breakdown on this? We're talking about one specific
Here I am
decade.
thinking about different movies.
Hellraiser.
I don't know why.
Poltergeist.
Okay.
My
Never seen
man Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Oh, yeah.
That was a
Ooh,
remake.
Fly, yeah.
Evil Dead.
David Cronenberg.
Leviathan. Beetlejuice, which is kind of relevant because we're going to be covering Tim Burton next episode.
We are. I still have not watched Beetlejuice.
Me
I
either.
haven't either. I heard it's bad.
What, really?
That's what I heard. Well, not bad, but it was like, eh. You know, it's like take it or leave it. Gremlins.
Wow.
Yeah, I love
How
that.
do you count Gremlins as a horror?
Yeah,
though?
I'd count. The first one was kind of
Is it not
Returning the
Christmas
Living Dead. Christine. Has anybody ever seen Christine?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about when he brought up Rubber.
Yeah, Christine.
Was-
The Shining.
Yeah,
Well, what year did Rubber come out? That's the greatest horror movie of all time.
Rubber, I think, was the late 70s.
Oh, okay, well then it's got to be 70s best decade, right? Because Rubber.
Yeah.
How do you beat it?
Monster Squad is in 87. Predator. So it just goes
So,
on. Cujo.
Maximum Overdrive. What year was that?
80
That was 80s, wasn't it?
Was that 80s?
maybe. With the
wasn't a
all
lot
with
of
the
those
all
movies in the
AC/DC
80s? Yeah.
soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit, Rubber, 2010.
Fucking so it's that low budget that you thought it was made in like
Yeah.
70 something.
Wow.
I just thought I remember hearing that was like an older
God,
movie,
dude,
but
I haven't seen it, but
2010,
I've seen
but it-
clips.
Yeah.
Maximum
Never seen it.
Overdrive is in 1986.
86.
Okay, yeah,
86.
right in the middle.
Right there,
Well-
smack dab in the middle.
Now, I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah.
Because I think it's relevant to Halloween. You notice I named several movies that were by
Cujo.
Stephen King.
Stephen King.
So wasn't that like in the late
Late 70s.
70s? Okay, so that's like the first movie that he had that came out, right?
Yeah.
And then they just started going ham on Stephen King
Yeah, you know,
episodes or
honestly,
stories, right?
man, I don't know. Now that you're putting all this stuff out there, and I'm thinking about it, I don't know if 80s was the best decade for horror. There was a lot back in the 60s and 70s. Think about Hitchcock and everything he did.
Yeah, Hitchcock stuff.
Think
Yeah.
about
Okay.
Psycho.
Psycho.
Psycho is still one of the greatest horror movies ever made.
I'll give you that.
And I'm not talking about the remake with Vince Vaughn and
What
Anne
about
Heche.
what year did Night of the Living Dead come out?
The original?
The original.
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
57?
I think that's right. It's in. I think
Don't-
it's
don't-
That's
What-
an old one.
I was gonna say
it's
that
really old.
That's
'cause
old, and that was
wasn't
a fucking great movie.
the Evil Dead series like the spoof
That
of
Evil
those?
Dead.
1968 for the for Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, okay.
68.
I was off by over a decade.
But not. I mean, it's easy to understand. You know, like because
But
it's in
that-
black and white.
Yeah.
But you see, that's what I'm saying. 60s, 70s,
It
there were a
scared-
lot
I mean,
of.
when that movie came out, it scared the shit out of a
Okay,
lot of people.
I'm gonna disagree then officially, Rob. I'm gonna take back
Okay.
what I said, and I'm gonna say the
70s.
70s.
Okay.
70s had to be the greatest.
I'll give you that. I don't agree with it, but I can understand where you're coming from because you also have Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And that's what
Okay.
I was about to bring up.
and that's a scary ass.
Because you have 60s, so 50s and 60s you had a lot of these like just goofy kind of sci-fi horror movies that were, now you look back and it's like, dude, it's so corny. The Blob, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, things like that. Now the original War of the Worlds wasn't bad.
No,
Was that
I like
supposed to be
this-
a scary movie?
War of the Worlds, yeah.
War of the Worlds. Okay, it
So,
was originally
it's
a
a
radio.
novel. Well, it's a novel by H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells, but they read it. So
Yes. Yeah, okay. This is a true thing.
true story on this. Okay,
Yeah.
it was aired on the radio.
Yeah, they did like a radio broadcast. Somebody reading the story.
Their story, and so many people thought it was real.
They would tune
yeah,
in
sure.
before after the introduction. So they did the introduction of like, this is a reading of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. And then they would tune in the middle of it, and like Rob said, they thought that the world was being taken
Over by
Yeah,
aliens. And
like it was
caused
a news report or
it
something.
caused it caused a huge problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Crazy.
people were like, I remember hearing stories like people were like packing up their shit and like on the highway, and they were like stuck in traffic
Yeah.
for hours trying to get out of the city
Because of all the other people that were
Right.
like, we're getting out of
Yeah.
here, getting away from the fucking aliens and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was in the 50s.
Awesome.
And this was also right after Area 51.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it
there
was
was
during that time.
well, and
and then-
every story, every sci-fi story and horror story around that time was all about otherworldly things.
right. Now,
So it was prevalent in our minds.
back to your point of the 70s.
So
Serial killers started becoming prevalent in the 70s.
yes, and that's when you get, and that's what I was gonna say is you had this kind of like, not that that's where the horror movie was invented, because you had obviously, Hitchcock I mentioned was making masterpieces, years before, but I would say that's where filmmakers kind of revolutionized this new type of horror film. Like, so John Carpenter's Halloween is a great example. You have Michael Myers, who is stalking this person, but he's also leaving a trail of blood in his
Yeah.
path, and you don't have that, to your point, if serial killers haven't become a thing.
Yeah, and I think with Halloween 2, it's scary because it's not supernatural. Like he's a mental patient who's escaped, and he's like like stalking. Like this could technically happen, where like a Freddy Krueger or a Jason. That's like, it's kind of like, it's paranormal. Doesn't really know if it's real.
Well, technically, the Jason, they kind of went into the sci-fi because the original
Wow.
was
Okay. If you're gonna talk about Jason in space and
yeah. Well, no, I'm
Jason
talking,
X.
like what was it, Jason 3, where he get the guy like apparently was like there at the camp, and he was like one of the survivors. He goes to the graveside, digs him up, and starts stabbing him with this big stake, and then lightning strikes, and his decayed corpse comes back.
Yeah,
Like, that
Jason
shit
is
was like,
Jason is
the
kind of a
first
supernatural.
The first two were good.
Yeah.
After that, it was like, all right, this is
Well, you
starting to
You
get
didn't like Jason Takes Manhattan?
yeah.
All right, so we're gonna put Casey and Greg on point. Matt says 70s was the golden age for horror movies. Casey,
I'm gonna say, well,
and it doesn't have to be 70s or 80s.
what year did the original Dracula and Wolfman?
Oh, those were like
Oh.
30s and
30s?
30s and
Right,
40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
If those didn't get created, we wouldn't have horror the way they
That's a
are
good
right
point.
now.
That's a very good point.
Greg,
I'm actually probably gonna agree with you, Rob,
80s.
with the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because those are, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the horror films, but the ones that I do like and seen been from 80s.
So you're not 2010 with the rubber?
I will say, even up until recent, what I really love in horror movies and with horror directors and filmmakers in general is anybody that kind of like redefines, that like a genre in general, but especially horror and like the way that we see it and stuff. I've said this probably several times on this podcast and a million times just in my everyday life. Had the Saw franchise, had they not made so many sequels just for a cash grab and left the first one alone
by
as
itself,
a standalone film,
would have probably been one of the
Yeah.
best ones.
that would go down in history as possibly the greatest, if not horror movie, psychological thriller ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you and I've talked about that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've
I
mentioned
mean,
that.
really, the second you make a Saw 2, you ruined it. You
Yeah.
ruined any chance of going down in history as being like that. And you could still look back at it and go, as a standalone film, it still holds that prestige. But just knowing what comes with it
yeah.
kind of muddies it a little bit, as far as...
Didn't they like even jump around in the timetable?
Yeah, I think one of them's like
One
a
of them's, like,
prequel.
before before
I can't
one.
follow it. I've only watched maybe 4 Saw movies total, and that's including like
Yeah, it was like Saw
the
4,
spin-offs
yeah,
and
Saw
and,
4, 5. It happens before Saw 1. Like,
Yeah.
how's that 5?
Yeah, you just it doesn't. Another movie that it's not horror by any means, but we were kind of toeing the line talking about the Disney movies and stuff like that. So I think this fits in there too, and I gotta watch it every. I know you're at least gonna agree with this. Ernest Scared Stupid.
Oh, that's
Yep.
on my list.
Oh, yeah.
Ernest Scared
All-time
Stupid.
best scary, not scary movies.
And are
but
you
Halloween
kidding?
movies.
That's a horror movie. Scared me when I was a kid.
When he kisses the fucking troll
Yeah.
and gets the mucus all over.
What actress played the witch in that? Because she's famous. She's like,
That was Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt.
Yes.
Yes. Who's also in one of my favorite movies. Another favorite movie, Holes.
Yeah.
And God, so much else.
She's the voice of Yzma.
In Crawl.
She played for a brief time, I believe. She was Catwoman in.
Back in the 60s.
Yeah,
I
it was
think you're right.
either on the series or in the movie, and I can't remember which one. But I believe she. Yeah, she also did wasn't she the one who sang the old like original very popular version of Santa Baby?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, the one that everybody knows, the classic like Santa Baby. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was
before
a kid.
Madonna and all that.
She was a child.
Yeah.
She was really young in doing it. Yeah.
So, speaking of, we were talking about Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I've tried to get Tori to watch that movie, and she refuses
so
to fucking
good.
watch
It's so
it.
good.
It is good.
Amy's the one who showed it to me.
My all-time favorite is scene is the one where people are standing at the bus stop, and he's doing the he's doing
the shadow
puppets, and then
Yes.
he makes a shadow puppet dinosaur, and he literally eats
With
everybody standing at
Yes.
the bus stop.
So
Or the guy who shows up to the bikers.
yes. So you've seen Ernest Scared Stupid, right?
No.
You have not.
You haven't? Oh,
Really?
Not.
Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Pull up some, if you can, Rob, some pictures of that with like the trolls, because I want, since he has seen. Have you seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Craig?
Nope.
Okay. So this might only mean something to Rob, because he's seen both. And I have mentioned this before. The masks that they used for the trolls in Ernest Scared Stupid were the same masks.
I've seen screenshots of Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns.
So I think I know what you're where you're going
Those are
with.
the same masks that they used for the clowns in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
For sure.
Yes.
They're the same?
For sure. They like repainted them and like repurposed them. Yeah.
Can you see that?
Okay.
That's the clown. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the clowns.
That's one of the big goofy jizz.
Yeah. And then, so there's another one. So you can kind of see the similarities, right?
Oh, yeah,
can't,
absolutely.
because I've just seen
And then
the
you
clown.
haven't. And then if you pull up Ernest Scared Stupid.
How stupid.
He's pretty
Pretty-
stupid to begin with, but who
Right.
doesn't love Ernest? Ernest
I didn't realize. So
P.
Ernest
Worrell.
was
He was the voice of Slinky Dog.
well, he did Disney. You said he did Disney?
No, I was just saying because we were talking about Disney movies and kind of
Oh,
family-friendly
gotcha.
movies. We're going along that. But he did do Disney. He was the voice of Slinky Dog in
Pixar.
Toy Story 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
He passed away during the filming of 2. And then...
Can you see that?
Can you see
I
the...
can see it, but I can't see the resemblance.
do you want me to pull... I'll pull it up here. Hold this wine.
I'll pull it up for me.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Mr. Sacco's got to come off. Sorry, Mr. Sacco. I'll put him right here. I will pull it up, Rob, if you want me to, so that case you can see it better.
All right.
I mean, I can see that one.
He's saying he doesn't see the
right, but I
similarity.
don't see the similarity.
Oh,
Okay.
Here, you see
well,
Yeah, I
that? So
can see that.
there's a side comparison here
Oh.
that compares them side to side.
oh, you have one?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. So what they
Yeah.
did was they added different parts,
parts,
and
yeah,
textures
I
and stuff
see.
to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is those same
Yeah, okay.
masks. I'll take that back. Thank you. And Mr. Sacco.
And so these are
here,
they're trolls.
Rock out.
Interesting.
Got-
I've actually never seen any of the Ernest movies.
Ever any of them?
Oh man, Ernest Saves Christmas is
Ernest
actually
Saves
damn
Christmas.
good.
Second best Ernest P. Worrell.
Which one?
Ernest
Saves Christmas?
Saves Christmas is the second best one in my opinion.
You say Scared Stupid's the best?
Oh yeah.
You put Saves Christmas above Scared Stupid?
Yeah, but I like Christmas more than Halloween. So
I don't put them anywhere.
Like in general?
in general, yeah.
I do too.
So- but
Christmas is my favorite holiday.
I like them both. But yeah, I would put the Christmas one.
I'll give you that.
They're definitely not my top 10.
Well, let me ask you this, and we definitely. Well, Rob, what do you have a favorite Halloween tradition? We didn't even.
Yeah.
What do you like to do?
You know,
All right. So anyway, no.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, now that I'm older and I own a home, I think my favorite Halloween tradition, when I have time to do it, is setting up Halloween decorations. I know that that's Tori's favorite because she like swore me to like not do a podcast next week. So that we could set up decorations.
Next Sunday?
Yeah, next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
So that I can set up decorations. And I didn't set up decorations last year because I didn't have time.
Yeah.
So that's one. And
Okay.
then dressing up in costumes
Just-
is probably a next
yeah.
one. But,
the pageantry of it all.
yeah. But if you take me 30 years ago,
Uh-huh.
I'd have been 11 years old.
Yeah.
Trick-or-treating.
Trick or treating,
Right.
which falls in line with Greg's favorite of just
I
the
mean,
candy.
So I think my favorite traditions have kind of evolved over time.
Right.
And actually,
Right.
part of it is like we don't get many trick-or-treaters here in the city.
Yeah.
So I'm really, when I go out to like a friend's house, like I make a point to see the kids in the costumes because it kind of just transports me back to when I was a kid,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And my parents were always poor, so we always had like the cheapest
Oh,
costumes.
Oh, yeah.
And
My
we
mom-
had to
yeah,
make them
my mom was-
usually.
yeah, a single mom, 2 kids. One year I dressed up as the mummy, and my mom was pissed off that I used 4 rolls of toilet paper and wrapped it around myself. And she said, "You just wasted so much money
yeah.
on a costume for yourself."
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't buy me one.
Right.
Right.
Like,
What are you
used to-
going to do?
We used to always have, and then that was like, my
Yeah.
You
grandma
left
was
me no
like-
choice here,
'cause
man.
my grandparents used to always say, like, we had to make our costumes.
Right.
Yeah.
My
we
mom was
had
like
to do
it.
that. We ended up having to do
Yeah.
that. I didn't get. We didn't go and buy like an actual costume until I was like almost 11 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, it was the same for me. And then it would have been like a Jason mask. That's what you get.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you've got camouflage
there-
at home.
there
You've got a
was-
belt.
yeah.
You've got things to
Yeah.
go with this at home.
Yeah.
So
There
you're going to
was-
get one
yeah.
$10 mask. And
There
that's it.
was one year that my grandma surprised us with Halloween costumes. My sister got to be a corpse bride, a dead
Yeah.
bride.
Okay.
And my grandma showed up. She goes, "I hope you like wrestling," and I was Goldberg.
Uh,
1 year for Halloween.
were
so,
you
like,
into wrestling?
Kind of.
Kind of.
I mean, I didn't know because Goldberg wasn't in the WWF or whatever.
Yeah,
it
he was WCW.
WCW. I thought he was cold. I thought it was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
For the longest time, because he was just another bald dude.
He was kind of like the anti-Stone Cold Steve Austin, honestly, at that time. Like, full on, like, hero mode, good guy, like, kind of straight edge, straight laced kind of guy.
Probably the first time I got to walk around in a night thinking I was somebody else and flipping people off and not getting in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was one of those things. A lot of people probably also thought you were Stone Cold. If they
Right,
were,
right.
Yeah,
But
so-
I mean, like, Stone Cold always had that vest.
yeah,
Goldberg was shirtless. So basically, it was basically like the
It's like a
shirt was just
muscle-
muscles
suit. Yeah.
with the tattoo because he had
Okay,
that
yeah, 'cause he had
tattoo,
a tattoo.
and Stone Cold did not.
Yeah, he played football.
Greg, what about you, man? What was your favorite costume growing up when you were a kid?
Costume. Ninja Turtle.
I know as a Ninja Turtle, at least once. Really, as a kid, they were just more generic ones.
Yeah.
You know, vampire.
Yeah, I was a vampire one year. I was Jason one year.
What about
Yeah.
okay? Let's
Now-
expand that question. Overall, throughout all
it's
the
gonna
years,
it's gonna be one of Matt's Halloween parties, and probably
Yeah.
my favorite one is when we did the Wet Bandits.
the Wet Bandits. That's still one of my favorites too.
That's-
I still
Honestly, no.
I still show people pictures of that.
Oh, I thought that was
Are we
great.
talking about our favorite our costumes, or are we talking about what other people have worn? 'Cause
Oh, yours.
Fucking lunch lady, dude.
Oh, that
Me
was
as the
pretty
lunch
cool.
lady?
Oh my god, dude!
Okay.
That was
was
fucking
great.
epic,
Okay.
dude. It was like the first night we hung out beside Bastille.
Yeah,
we came over.
you were Ricky Ricardo
yeah, and
and
Jess
Jess
was Lucille
Lucy.
Ball,
Yeah,
and you were the fucking lunch
Okay,
lady. And I
huh.
was like, this is fucking awesome.
yeah.
That was a great one.
Matt, I do
That
have to
was
say,
super
out of
great.
all of us, I think you've had the best costumes that I've seen.
You know, part of that I have to give partial credit to Amy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up with ideas and helping me put the costumes.
Amy had a
together.
good one.
She's had some good ones.
She's had some good ones. The last one when she was pregnant was.
When she was pregnant with Jude, or Raven, which one?
I think it was Raven because I think it was.
You're talking about the redneck costume?
Yeah.
That was when she was pregnant with Jude, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
She had basically a flannel kind of like this and borrowed one of
I
my
remember that.
wife beaters and had her
Yeah,
stomach hanging out with and like a trucker hat
Yeah.
because she already had the belly because she
Yeah.
was pregnant.
Well, you were like a second part to her costume, I think, that year, weren't you?
No,
thought you were
we've
shit.
like
Were you
never
shit?
done like a couple's costume
Okay.
ever.
What were you?
I think I've done more couple's costumes with you than with my own wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one year that we were supposed to be the village men.
Village people?
Yeah, the village people.
Yeah. Well, okay. Nobody told me that.
You were in the group
No one told me.
because
You
Joe
guys...
showed up as the trucker.
Yeah, because you guys all showed up and you were like, "Oh, yeah, we never heard we never heard from you, and you didn't say." I'm like, "You never told me. You didn't include me in the group."
You can't say me because it was Brandon's.
You
idea.
guys. Well, whoever it was, I wasn't included in that group. Rob's had some
You
good
think I
ones
would have
too.
dressed up like that fucking goofy ass Indian?
Matt, I have,
Yeah.
but to agree with you all, that is credited with Tori.
Tori. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, I think, was when you guys were Bane and Poison
Bane,
Ivy.
yeah,
That was a really good one.
yeah.
That was a good one.
Her mom-
You
her
were
mom-
a mafia. Wasn't he like a mafia boss?
Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, nice.
Did
Peaky
that.
Blinders 1 year. Kronk and Yzma 1 year.
God, that was a good one too.
Yeah. Bane.
Yeah, Bane and I think you did a BioShock.
Yeah,
thing
we
too,
did a
right?
BioShock, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of good ones. I don't know, man.
We also did a Tim Burton one, so there again, I was the
Yeah.
mayor and she was Sally.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. Was that one of the years you guys went to like an escape room or something?
I'm not sure.
I don't think that was at one of the
What
parties that
year.
we did.
No, it may not have been.
Yeah, because I remember he was at one of the parties at your parents' house, and
Yeah.
he was dressed up to the like nines. I was like, oh, what?
That must have been that was the Peaky
Peaky
Blinders.
Blinders
Must have been
one,
the
Peaky
Peaky
Blinders.
Blinders.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were all dressed up in a suit and everything when you were Ricky.
Yeah, but nobody knew who the fuck I was.
If you had
had
Lucy on your arm, yeah.
Yeah, Lucy was over there fucking cannonball drunk.
Yeah, oh, that shit's nasty. Well, what about? And I know we've talked about this one too, but what's your favorite? I'll say Halloween candy, but that might just encompass all candy at that point. But we'll say
There are a lot of candies that literally come out around
Yeah.
Halloween alone. Like,
So okay, you're transported back to childhood. You're trick or treating. What's the thing you're most excited to get out of the bag?
It would have been the peanut butter cups.
I was gonna, Greg. I agree.
Or
I think I was gonna say
Snickers-
peanut butter cups.
Snickers.
Peanut butter cups, Snickers.
Yeah.
it's the
We went-
Tootsie fruit shoes.
Those
These
the
were
little Tootsie fruit
Oh
chews.
my god, those were so good back then.
Yeah. Do you remember like
See, I never knew about those. I don't remember those
dude.
as a kid,
Yeah.
but I love those things now.
Well,
Like it was always just Tootsie Rolls.
Do you guys remember the little fruit chews that were like had like Hanna-Barbera characters on them? They'd be like Flintstones or like Jetsons or Yogi or like I think most of them were Flintstones, but it was like you open it up and it's like a little square tab, and they're harder than those Tootsie Fruit chews. But once you like chew them for a minute, they soften up.
I don't remember.
Almost
those.
looked like a little piece of gum.
like an
Wait.
later.
Was it the strawberry? Where they were like strawberry flavored?
So
It was a hard candy.
No, you're thinking of those strawberry hard candies that your grandma always had in her
Yeah.
house for some
I
reason.
love those.
Yeah, that's a little different. This was actually like a fruit chew. I don't know. I'm not saying that was my favorite. I don't know if I had a favorite like Halloween candy as a kid.
Mine was Reese's peanut butter cups, or back in the day, Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
I didn't hate that.
I used to
I
like-
loved it all.
Some people have when you go to the house. And what
Chew
was it?
first.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Remember Pixie Sticks though? We used to
Oh,
get
dude.
Pixie
Okay,
Sticks a
Pixie
lot
Sticks
as a
were
kid.
the shit. That was
Like
one
you used
of
to
my
just
favorites.
people used to just dump those
What was
in
it? It
your
was a package,
Yeah.
and you got like this little white stick, and you had to
Fun
you
dip.
Fun dip.
Fun dip. That
Fun
was a
dip.
good
Oh,
one.
yeah, those
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
and I used to
Oh god,
be
if you
so
got a
happy when I
fun
got
dip,
Fun
that was okay.
or Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks was a good one.
Pop
Yeah,
Rocks were great.
I've always liked sour candy,
I love sour
and it
candy.
wasn't. around that much back then.
It wasn't.
In the like little fun size
Nope.
bags. Like now you can get the little packages.
Now
of
they
Sour
got
Patch
the
Kids and
Sour
stuff.
Patch Kids. They got the
Warheads,
Sour Punch
all
straws
that
and
stuff.
Warheads. Yeah.
So-
Now Warheads
A lot-
were
but
around.
back then,
Yes.
you could also just hand out open things of candy, and you wouldn't have to fucking worry about
Yeah, that's true.
being poisoned and shit.
Well, I would say any time, because it was rare, but any time I got something sour in my candy bag from trick or treating, that was a fucking
Yeah,
golden nugget.
I'll agree with you there.
That was a
Okay.
gold nugget.
Now, okay, we had Shock Tarts.
Shock Tarts were the
Ooh,
shit.
I forgot about
Yes.
those.
Yes,
I remember
are
getting
good.
those
Shock Tarts were
in
amazing.
Halloween
Warheads.
candy.
That
Ooh,
was probably
Atomic
my favorite then,
Warheads.
yeah. Now, and I'm not a big chocolate guy. I really am not. And typically, I would say this is an Easter candy, but they do have a Halloween version now for like the past maybe 10 years, probably less. I will fuck up a Cadbury egg.
Yeah.
Especially one with the caramel, or do you like the original with the?
No,
the
a Cadbury
the cream.
cream egg, and that's what they have a
Yeah.
Halloween version that
Yeah.
has like a green slime
yeah.
like cream in it, but it tastes just the same. And god damn, dude,
Yeah.
I will. You like a nice cream in your
That's a
mouth?
good cream.
Cream.
So,
Cream and egg.
not to switch off from candy, but
Uh-huh.
there's something I've been wanting to talk to about for the last few minutes,
Okay.
and it is the proliferation of zombie movies.
Okay.
And why they are so prevalent in pop culture and in society. Okay.
Because it's possible.
Do you think that?
Everything I've said scientifically, it is not possible. But here's why. Here's the thing. We talked about Night of the Living Dead, and it was back in 1968. Okay.
Scared the shit
What was-
out of a lot of people.
What was going on in the 60s?
Cold War.
Cold.
Okay. And
It was Vietnam.
I'm trying to dance around it.
and civil rights,
So
Yeah.
all this civil upheaval. Okay. Now, you fast forward to I don't know, 8-10 years ago, and we had Ferguson and all that stuff. Maybe even a little bit before that. It would always seems like before like civil upheaval and all that would happen, zombie movies would preclude that, or it was
Okay.
kind of they would go together, and it's kind of like in the human psyche. There's an article on it. I forget exactly, but they had some sound reasonings that like they correlated to each other. So like society was going through all of these civil rights things. We're kind of in that now, right?
Yeah.
And it's not as much as it was like say 5, 6, 7 years ago with like Walking Dead, and then World War Z. Those types of movies, but they were always associated with civil strife and upheaval and all
And
that.
that's what I like the older movies, yes, because it was corpses coming up out of the ground. World War Z was a virus.
Right.
Yeah, it's more like
Yeah.
it's more
And
like an
it's
infected.
it was like a form of rabies.
Well, that's
Right.
kind of how they explained it in
people were
Walking Dead as
yeah.
well, don't they?
Well, no,
That it's
in
a
Walking
virus.
Dead,
It
it
is
was
a
a
virus.
that
I
ends
thought
up
Walking Dead
being
was
in everybody.
the meth.
It was
It was those bath
From Walter
salts.
White.
It was basically a virus
from
that
Walter
most
White.
people
Oh,
were born
yeah.
with.
Okay, so look at that. So
Okay. You heard what Greg said?
yeah, with the bath salts when the people were attacking.
No, did you hear what he just said?
No,
There's a theory, and it's actually pretty sound, that Walking Dead and Breaking Bad take place in the same universe because Daryl has some blue sky in his bag, like Walter White's like blue crystal meth, and he's telling a story in one episode about him and Merle hanging out with some dealer who was like, yeah, he's like, he said something bitch or whatever, and then people are like, oh dude, that's got to be Jesse Pinkman.
right.
And so
And
there's so to go further with it, to Greg's point, there's a theory that like the blue sky somehow caused this virus, right?
Well, I
Or
think
it's
too,
tied
and it's
in.
just like pretty much more and more people getting addicted to
To
that
the- to
meth
meth.
and just like breaking people down, kind of like with the fentanyl turning, people into zombies
Yeah, but-
and shit like
but
that. But like
the
just
thing-
like
but
the
thing
effect
was
of it.
But the thing was like whatever season it was where he kills his friend, his best friend, where he said when they go out to the field and they fight.
Shane.
When he kills Shane didn't get bit. He stabbed him to death, and he came back as on because that scientist said
There's
everybody, like when you're born, you were born with this in
basically
you.
everyone in that universe is infected with that virus.
And it just started to
So if they die, they come back.
Yeah. You didn't have to get bit. When you got bit, it progressed it.
Yeah.
That's why destroying the brain is what kills them because
it was a
Yeah.
pulse. It was an infection right in the brainstem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that it was an interesting kind of piece of information
Zombie
that
movies are my shit.
society latches on to like the zombie movies when there's civil upheaval and civil things going on.
I'll give you that. You know what made me what I started thinking of when you brought that up was Shaun of the Dead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where at the end of the movie, it's kind of like that, where it was like a whole civil rights thing where it's like, well, we're just learning to live with the zombies
With the
now.
zombies.
Right.
Like he was still like friends with Nick Frost. He just had him chained to the couch.
Yeah.
He was like, no,
They
still playing video games with them and shit.
Of course, it's out in the fucking.
And they're he
out in the
has them
fucking,
locked in the
shed.
shed. Yeah, and it's like
You got the cart person.
Yeah, I was gonna say
the carts away.
there's like a news story where they're talking about how they're integrating them into the workforce and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. That's a valid point. And I think if any zombie movie or show has showcased that the best, it would be Shaun of the Dead with that ending.
Yeah.
Very good. Fuck, this wine's really good, by the way, Rob.
Thank you. Yeah,
it's good.
I
So
just
it's-
My ass, but it's good.
it's from Wild Sun. It's one of the winery / breweries that One Beer at a Time.
Ah, perfect.
Went to a
Our
few
brothers,
weeks ago.
our brothers in arms.
Yeah, and I've been holding on to it because it's a dessert wine, kind of a sweet thing, and I figured it would go good with the candy. So yeah. Shout out to Wild Sun, really good wine. It's the Icarus,
Perfect.
and it tastes like caramel.
And it's kicking my ass.
And make sure to watch One Beer at a Time.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you guys have any other topics that you want to cover? Because we are coming up on time.
Yeah.
Is there anything?
real quick, have you guys seen that Adam Sandler Halloween movie on Netflix?
Hubie Halloween.
Hubie, yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
Did you not?
I watched the trailer and I was like,
I didn't dislike it, but at the same time,
What more did you want from it? What different did you want from it? It's a goofy,
yeah,
like
it kind of looked like it was just supposed to be goofy.
you would like
but
it.
not, but
You
not
would
that-
like it.
Yeah.
You like Ernest Scared Stupid. You would like it.
Right.
I feel like
That's the
some
vibe
of the
I kinda
characters
picked up.
didn't give it their all. Like what's his name?
Shaq?
James.
James who?
What's the cop? The police officer.
Oh, Kevin James.
Kevin James. Yeah.
No, I liked him in
I
that.
felt like he didn't give it his all in that movie.
He was also one of the cops in Monster House.
Yeah.
Which is another movie I like to watch around this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a fun little
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
It's Monster House. You ever see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good one. Nevercracker. Yeah, that's a good one.
I mean, there's so many scary movies out there, like especially like Critters. We didn't even talk about Critters. That's one of my all-time favorites from the '80s.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just over the top. I put it in the same category as like
Yeah, I
Killer
used-
Clowns from Outer Space because it's just
Goosebumps.
yeah.
You guys used to get like goosebumps.
I had the
Oh
books.
yes, I
Yeah,
love
so like the movies, like they were good. Like
Yes.
there's that one with the mask that she couldn't get the fucking mask off.
Yeah.
There's
On
like
Halloween.
that's like a
that was
3-parter.
such a good one.
There's like several episodes of that are you know, and since you brought that up, Rob, about like, you know, another horror movie from the 80s and stuff, not to discount, like when I say that I disagree that that's the best
Sure,
decade,
no, we can
still great. I mean, there's a reason that there are so many horror movie podcasts out there right now,
Right.
because it's such a popular genre. There's so many movies. There's so many not even just movies, but classic movies, and really good examples of like excellent cinematography and writing and things like that. So, tons of.
I kind of agree with Casey's point to an extent. Like the 30s, like the 20s and 30s, like we would not have scary movies if it wasn't for Frankenstein and Dracula. So I can agree with that. I guess maybe I'm partial to the 80s because I was growing up in the 80s,
Yeah.
so all that shit was scary to me. It was like the scariest ever.
The
You know
only
what I mean?
I
reason-
didn't watch. I was gonna say it wasn't until like 2000s when I got to watch my first fucking horror movie. So.
The only reason I don't say like those movies like that era that you're talking about with like the you not yeah you
Not to candy.
is just because like then you could argue, okay, well those are all based on novels, so without Mary Shelley,
Right.
you know, without Bram
Okay.
Stoker,
Okay.
Yeah.
you don't have those stories to even start that.
Right. To start the
Whereas I'm
conversation.
kind of thinking of like, okay, these were original ideas, at least more original ideas, maybe loosely based on something that somebody heard, or like, you know, now we have creepypasta and things like that, but you
Well,
know, back in the
was-
day it was just like round the campfire stories and
What
shit.
Creepy crawlies.
was Dr. Hyde and Mr. Jekyll? Was that a book?
Robert
before
Louis
it was
Stevenson.
an
It
actual
was.
movie?
Yes.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the guy who wrote Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Robert
Okay,
Louis
now
Stevenson.
did you see the direct link? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with the Hulk.
What? No.
What?
The Hulk and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's the same thing.
Oh, okay. The link between the two. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
I got confused for a second.
I thought you started talking about extraordinary gentleman. Leave extraordinary.
Which that's
Gentleman.
also
No.
because that big guy who took all that serum.
That's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But the guy, so in that movie, when that guy drinks that big ass thing, he was called Hulk. When he,
Okay.
the big massive red guy
Okay.
that was fighting.
Speaking of, we're
Jekyll,
getting Red Hulk in
he
the
said,
new
"Yeah, we are."
Captain
and
America.
he was called Hulk. I was like, wow, we're talking
Yeah.
about that movie now.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was actually pretty good because it also covers. It's also got Dorian Gray.
Dorian
Yeah.
Gray.
That okay.
That's a creepy story.
That's a very fucked up story.
That movie was made either
Too
10
early.
10 years too late or 10 years too early.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I say that because 10 years too late, had it been made sometime in the 90s or late 80s with like kind of cheesy graphics by today's standards or something, it would at least be like a cult following.
Yeah.
Something like Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yep.
Where, you know, it's kind of gaining exposure now. Or 10 years later, of course, it would have been in good company with like Marvel movies and things like that.
Yeah.
Having
Good CGI.
Yes, having been right when it released, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen's kind of in no man's land there.
Yeah. It's
You know,
still
because of watching that
fucking
movie,
great
I actually broke down and watched or read 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Really?
10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, whatever it is. Yeah.
Jules Verne.
Jules Verne. Yeah, I read it.
Jules Verne.
Jules Verne's got a lot of good books, dude.
Yeah. Around the World in 80 Days.
Around the World in 80 Days. Who wrote War of the Worlds?
H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells.
Who also wrote, I believe, The Invisible Man,
Yeah.
a few other things. Yeah.
So
Time Machine?
Yep. Yeah, he did.
Time
You
Machine.
did Time Machine?
Yeah, H.G. Wells did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a horrible movie.
But you know what? It's
It's the one with Guy Pearce
Yeah.
and the fucking like weird chimp things
Yeah.
that
Dude,
look
that were, like,
exactly.
underground.
They look.
Madam Jimway. Madam Jimway.
Have you guys seen Evolution?
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me those things in Time Machine don't look exactly like the ape versions
Yeah.
human
of the aliens in
Okay.
what
So-
it's Dan Aykroyd when they're like that thing's an alien. He goes, the fuzzy no-nosed chimp.
So the original books. So let's talk War of the Worlds real quick.
Okay.
The technology, because it was like based on what he knew technology was at the time.
Yeah.
The UFOs were like steam powered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so like he
Yeah.
talks about that. And then when we're talking about the Time Machine, the indigenous people that he was there, they were just like smaller versions of humans, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't really get into that as much
Yeah.
in the movie. He also like mated with one and fell in love with
Yeah.
one in the book.
Yeah.
And then the underground thing, like they had like big eyes. They were still humanoid, but they weren't like ape the way they were in
Yeah.
the movie.
Anytime I think of those types of books, it always makes me think of Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
When Doc Brown breaks down and he's finally telling Mary Steenburgen, okay, look, I'm from the future and all this stuff, and then she like gets pissed off at
You
him, and
know
she's like,
that that's my favorite story.
Yeah, she's like, she loves like Jules Verne,
Yeah,
and,
Jules Verne.
and H.G. Wells and all that stuff. So she's like, you know, I love those books, and and then at the end they name their sons Jules and Verne.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So, guys, this has been an amazing first episode of season 4, the
I'm
premiere
happy
season.
to be back, man.
This is really, really good to be back with you guys and doing this.
Yeah.
I've been itching to do this. Just so our audience knows, we tried getting together, 2-3 weeks ago. I had some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
The episodes just didn't turn out the way.
Yeah, Nate was here.
Yeah, Nate was here for that.
I was here.
I still have those recorded,
Well,
but
yeah, those-
we'll probably put them on a Patreon probably later at the end of this season. We're going to start a Patreon, or we'll do something where we can see where
Get them out there.
subscribers or anybody who patronizes our account can have them. But so Matt, I'm going to start with you. Do you have anything else you want to?
Anything else, man? You know, Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. I don't know, man. I think I could go on, you know, and getting together like this and just kind of talking and bullshit.
We covered a lot of ground.
I guess just, you know, I mean, I hope everybody's watching and listening and continuing to support. And we love all of you. And please be safe out there if you're going out for Halloween, which I think we're going to do. So, you know, do it smart. And I guess just have a nice day.
Casey?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
I got nothing.
Greg?
No,
Is there anything you
that's
want to
a
add?
Just talked out.
Jose jalapeno.
On a steak?
Yeah.
Jose jalapeno.
Don't lose your head.
Greg, you got anything you want to add?
No. Hey, if you get candy that you don't need or don't want, I can take it off your hands.
Please don't feed Greg's addiction.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the season premiere
Yes.
of Culture
So
Copia.
excited.
Season 4 premiere of Culture Copia.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to
More to
do
come.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. We're sticking with the spooky month.
Spooky month.
Yeah, sticking with the spooky
Spooky
month.
dookie.
All right. So we will see you guys next
Yes, we
week.
will. Tupac lives.
Whoop whoop.